Hello everyone, today we are going to discuss the poem by Langston Huges, As I Grew Older. My name is Imagery. Hope you enjoy it. I will not go over the entire presentation that you see in front of you, only the important things. So, good to pay attention. I will begin by reading the poem. It was a long time ago. I have almost forgotten my dream, but it was there then, in front of me, bright like the sun, my dream. And then the wall rose slowly, between me and my dream, rose until it touched the sky, the wall. Shadow. I am black. I lie down in the shadow, no longer the light of my dream before me, above me, only the thick wall, only the shadow. My hands, my dark hands, break through the wall, find my dream. Help me to shatter this darkness, smash this night, to break this shadow into 1,000 lights of sun, into 1,000 whirling dreams. It's good to pay attention to the way the poem is read, the structure, the way it is structured, and the words, and we will discuss everything. But first, let's talk about the literal meaning of the poem. The literal meaning is basically racism. It talks about prejudice. Because the speaker is black, the poem is about limited opportunities and discrimination. And these things is what held him back from achieving the dream that he desired. And he wanted to achieve a dream when he was a child, and he felt free as a child to dream about achieving these things. But as he grew older, and that's also the name of the poem, his dreams were obstructed by the world and its cruelties. The poet himself, Langston Huges, was an African-American poet who lived during a time of worldwide racial oppression against Black people. He was involved in the civil rights movement led by Dr. Martin Luther King. He was one of the first poets to promote African-American culture. The poem was written in 1925. Structure of the poem. First, Langston Hughes was deeply concerned with the creation of African-American poetry as an independent genre. The poem consists of only one stanza, as you saw, and 29 verses, with irregular length. The speaker of the poem is the poet himself. It is written in a first-person point of view. I have almost forgotten my dream. I lie down in the shadow. The poet uses simple words so that the reader can have a better understanding of the poem, and also he uses simple diction, which makes every word sound, and every word is important and conveys message. You don't need to think about what it means, and the theme is very clear. Repetition creates movement, and the repetition of the words, the repetition of the keeps repeating. It creates the movement and an hypnotic or trance-like tone. For example, I have almost forgotten my dream. My dream. There is no specific rhyme scheme. At the end, around the end area of the poem, he commanding himself to act, breaking out in a violent and often noisy struggle. And so the sentences are short and punchy, with all the syllables stressed and 4 exclamation marks. We don't usually see exclamation marks in poetry. And the exclamation marks come up one after the other, and it indicates strong bursts of effort, emotion, energy, drive, And the exclamation marks are often used for loud commands, for example. And he's commanding his hand to do so. So at the beginning, the speaker describes a childhood dream, and the rhythm is steady. Then he encounters the wall of oppression. And then you can notice how lines 8 and 9 are extremely short. Only one or even two words. And you barely see only one word as a line. Breaking the steady rhythm to convey flashes of emotion and slow down the pace of the poem. As the speaker gets more excited about breaking free, there are more words in a verse, in a line, and the rhythm speeds up. The strong syllables of line 20 and 23 convey the important theme of finding the strength to overcome the oppression. The tone changes throughout the poem. In lines 1 to 6, it's optimistic and innocent. In lines 7 to 19, it's depressing and pessimistic. And in lines 20 to 29, it's hopeful and empowering. And the words dream and shadow are repeated throughout the poem several times. And dream signifies light, optimism, and hope. And shadow, of course, means darkness, discrimination, the racism. There's also a repeated O sound, which is a reminder of the pain. Okay, there are also similes and imageries, literary terms in the poem. For example, bright like a sun and rose until the it touched the sky. It's an imagery because you can imagine, you can actually see it in your imagination, in your eyes, how the wall rises up. Metaphor, light of my dream, you can read it and see what are the literary terms. The final 10 lines reveal a fighting spirit and contain a powerful mix of light and dark images. The speaker believes he can break through the barrier of being born black in a white-dominated society. He speaks of the despair that his suffering brings as a shadow. These symbols of sun, wall, shadow, light, darkness extend through the end of the poem as he commands his hands to help him break through that wall to reach his dream. Okay. The poem is also part of a genre of the protest poetry, of course. The only literal language in the poem is I am black and dark hands, which makes it kind of ironic. It's ironic that these same hands, these same black hands, represent the power that can bring him to his dream. Because at first, the blackness was what held him back from his dream. That is why it's ironic. So let's sum up. Even though Langston Huges wrote this poem about his dream, which is for everyone to have equal rights, this poem can be interpreted differently by different readers. This poem gives hope to someone who is prevented from achieving their dream because of any obstacles that he may have, he or she. And these obstacles are, of course, the wall. It gives them motivation to never give up on our dream. So never give up on your dream, and thank you for being here with me